I am an Assistant Chief Quantity Surveyor with Dublin City Council, but I'm also a Secretary General of the European Council of Construction Cost Consultants, which to you and I in the UK and Ireland and Commonwealth would be called quantity surveyors. And I do recognise there's a huge amount of quantity surveyors here in the room at the moment. But one thing I would like to point out, ICMS is not just for quantity surveyors, it's for everybody. Everybody with climate action, sustainability, it's for everybody, and everyone has a contribution to make. And all the disciplines within the SCSI have a contribution to make. But as everyone has rightly said, quantity surveyors are best placed to do the bill of carbon. They do a bit of quantities anyway, so then they can do a bit of carbon. But they can't do it on their own. They need the help of all the disciplines to find the most sustainable, best practice, green procurement, best materials. So this is something everybody has got to be involved in. I'll move on. I'm going to take us up a notch or two. I'm going to talk more globally because we live in a global world, we live in a digital world, and we live in a data age. So we've moved on considerably, and the last few years have been phenomenal. And we've had, for example, the government mandate on BIM. Well, that's been a game changer. That's a huge game changer. But then we've come along and we've had the government mandate on ICMS. That's another game changer. But together, they're seismic. They're absolutely amazing. The amount of stuff we can get out of them is just brilliant. And we have, I've just made some of the key digitalized dates. Not all of them, there's a lot of them out there. We also have the Climate Action Plan, which is substantial. And we have the revised Energy Performance of Building Directive that Conor spoke about earlier. We spoke about that's coming into play. There's such a lot of things in there. And we've also got the government mandate on ARM5. And the reason I suppose I mention ARM5 is because it is digitalized. It's brought up to date. It's got modern methods of construction. It's really good. It's a fantastic piece of work, and we're using it. So it's a really good thing to use. Again, they're all different classifications. They're all different softwares, but they're all compatible. So there's no issues with any of them. So one of the reasons we need to do this is, and as I'll just speak about the BIM, everyone knows about the BIM mandate at this stage. We're a year and a half into our transitional period. But the big thing about it is we need the BIM mandate. We need to become more productive. We need it because we don't have enough people. We need the productivity. We need it for climate action. There's so many things we need it for, and we need it to speed things up. There's so many things we need it for it. But the important part of all this is about data. Data is the most important thing in all of this. And data is the new currency. And you'll know that anyway when you listen to the news. It's all about data. It's all about AI. It's all about all that kind of stuff. So then I won't talk much about ICMS, but I'll tell you why we're doing it, because it's been spoken about earlier by Bren and by Jerry and by Charles and by everybody else, and basically and Kevin. Again, there's very, very, very good reasons for doing it. So we're doing it. It's a cost reporting system. And it's to provide metrics from capital expenditure, CapEx, operational expenditure, and it takes into consideration the levels, the climate action plan, and again, embodied carbon, which is hugely important, again, to get to net zero by 2050. It's based on the standards, the ISO standards. It's international best practice, and it takes account of BIM. And it's also supported by government, professionals, bodies, industry software. It's supported by 49 different countries in the world. And Bren spoke earlier about the real cost of apartments, cost comparison across Europe. Well, the European Council of Construction Economists helped him with that, providing a number of the costs. Again, that's a body where there's a huge amount of information where we come together, again, to provide stuff like this. And it's really, really, really beneficial. And again, the key drivers are through, as I said, the digitalization of the CWNF. And again, it's utilizing the data handling capacity of building information modeling. But also AI. AI is a big thing now, as you know, and even BIM uses AI actually in its handling capacity, as does a lot of the softwares we use. A lot of people here being quantity surveyors will either use Cubic or Costex. They actually use AI within their software systems, but we're not using AI to the extent we could be using AI. So basically, sustainability. It's a really, really big thing in sustainability, and I just wanted to let you know there is a huge amount of information out there. So hence the reason I showed you some of these documents. And there are people here who are all part of the Surveyors Declare. You've heard of the Architects Declare, which started the revolution of the Surveyors Declare and all the rest of it. Again, it's sustainability. And the important part is ICMS provides, as you've been told time and time again here, global consistent method for carbon life cycle reporting across construction projects. It also helps construction professionals track and manage carbon emissions effectively. And the good thing about it is it fosters transparency, accountability, and informed choices. And it gives you trust in data because it is transparent. It is best quality you could possibly have. It also allows for, the ICMS allows for the integration of cost and carbon. This is where the quantity surveyor comes in again, bill of quantities, bill of carbon. Considerations from concept to completion to end of life, or again, sometimes we repurpose, because buildings often last way more than 60 years. Some of them are on for a couple of 100 years, but they get repurposed. The important thing is on a more global scale, it helps decision makers optimize investments while working towards net zero. So you'll find the big FDIs in all these countries, they're using it for ESG, they're using it for, you'll see they're all into the climate action, they're all into trying to be sustainable because it's good for business. It's commercially very good for business. Now, I've spoken here about this as the whole life carbon assessment. And again, I've given you, there's loads of documentation out there. People probably don't realize there's as much documentation out there. But as quantity surveyors, if we can't measure it, we can't control it. If we can't control it, we can't manage it. If you can't manage it, you can't improve it. Everyone would probably have heard of Rooker, who brought that out years ago. But again, it's to do, it allows us to use we can measure it, we can quantify it, we can report on it, and we can compare it. And it's consistent quality, really good information. I decided I'd end up with a very good case study, Grange Foreman, where we are right now. They actually did a very good case study on ICMS 3 and WLCA, which is whole life cycle assessment. And this case study, which is where we are, highlights how ICMS 3 and WLCA were used to assess cost and carbon impacts, leading to a 22% reduction in embodied carbon. And this was achieved by optimizing material selection and construction methods. Another example would be the Southern Health and Care Trust in the UK. Again, this looked at, applied it to embodied carbon and operational carbon, ensuring compliance with sustainability targets. The one good thing about the ICMS, it is very good for compliance. It's very good for ECG. It's very good for so many things. I'll end up with the 3 takeaways. The cost of not engaging BIM and ICMS, because they're interlinked, is far greater than the cost of engaging the cost of not engaging is far greater than the cost of engaging. The cost of engaging is, we have the software, we're using it, we have the tools there, the data we get out of it, the data is fantastic, we get out of it, it's unlimited, the potential is fantastic. For quantity surveyors, and not just quantity surveyors, for the government, for students, for research, for everyone, the data that's going to come out of this, it'll be structured, it'll be real life data, it'll be categorized, it'll be really good data, and we're using this throughout the whole of the time. So I'm saying get engaged. You can't not get engaged. And then I'm saying also, if you haven't started, start now, because it's easy. There's a lot of stuff out there, and I think this tells us how easy it is. It really is easy. There's loads of resources out there, and there's plenty of people who can help you with it. And the last 2 important takeaways, as far as I'm concerned, it's all about collaboration. Everything is about collaboration. And it's also about the data. It's important to have structured, standardized, consistent, real-time data. Thank you for listening to me.